We went out of time. I continue with my talk on free will. I said that I wouldn't be troubled if next year brain scientists would find a proof that there is free will. How about if they found the final proof that there's no free will? I don't think that would affect me either, because what that's saying in the end is that whatever I thought and did and said until now, and what I'm doing and saying and thinking in this precise moment, I'm doing and saying and thinking because I have no other choice. And that's including the thought that I have a free will. So I have no other choice than to think I'm free. I'm hardwired in that way. So what the philosopher says, who says there is free will, is basically, well, you have a free will, and the fact that you think you're free is a proof of that. And what the brain scientist says, who's denying free will, is you don't have a free will, and the fact that you think you're free is just another proof of you're not being free, because you're hardwired to think that way. You have no other choice. But neither way, that doesn't affect me and the way I lead my life. The only thing that I cannot understand is that some people, some philosophers, some brain scientists say, we just found out that we have no free will, so now we should change the way we think about, for example, we punish criminals, the way of jurisdiction. We should stop believing in stupid religions that tell us of a free will. Because how do we do that if we don't have free will? If we had a free will, of course, we could change jurisdiction, we could change the way we talk about responsibility, guilt. But if we don't have a free will, the only way how that could be changed would be to directly change our hardwiring. And philosophers now for centuries actually have been saying there is no free will. Brain scientists have been saying that for decades. And this information has access to my brain. And still, it hasn't changed much of my hardwiring. I still behave if I was free. So, if next year I get this same information again, hey, you're not free, you should change your life. How can I do that without being free? So, to me, it seems that it doesn't really matter if we do have a free will or not. But if we don't have a free will, the question is, why do we have consciousness in the first place? If we do have a free will, a lot of other questions arise. So where can it be located? Who's that free agent? I don't see him, I don't feel him. It feels as if he's there, but I can't grasp him. And how does this free agent interact with matter? How does he pull the strings in my brain? Okay, so much to the first comment. The second comment on this list is by Giraffe 2. By the way, what you say is perfectly in line with what I recently heard from Neo-Advaita teachers like Rupert Spira or Francis Lucille. In the first step, you put yourself in the position of a watcher who witnesses everything that arises in consciousness. They often use the same metaphor of watching a movie and becoming aware that you are actually watching a screen on which everything is happening. In a second step, you move to the experience that there actually is nothing else but this consciousness, and everything that arises out of it is actually nothing but itself. So in a sense, you become aware that all you are and all there is the screen itself. I have a hard time explaining and grasping this myself because I haven't yet made the second step and only had glimpses of the first. But maybe the aforementioned teachers can help you with your question too. Just look them up on YouTube. They have a lot of videos online. Thanks again for the interesting talk. Okay, so it sometimes feels as if we're not the actor in the movie, but we are a distant watcher of the movie being our life. And here it's suggested that we're neither the actor inside the movie, nor are we the watcher, but we're the screen itself. Which is different from saying we're the watcher, but I doubt that it actually solves the question itself. Uchiyama Roshi in his books talks about the self, and he's also drawing some interesting illustrations about what the self is. And one of these illustrations actually seems to suggest what the commentator here says, that the self is actually the screen itself and everything on the screen and the act of watching. So it's all one. The watcher, the watched, and the place where this is happening. The screen itself is all one, and that's the self. The question that for me arises then is there anything outside of that? And the obvious answer would be no. This consciousness extends everywhere. It's boundless. It's like the ocean. That's what kind of the next commentator, Moon Fargus, is saying. It's in German, but in English it's like one wave is asking the other, who are you? So that's a kind of metaphor, a picture that's often used in the spiritual world. We are all connected through one ocean. Like me and you are like two waves connected through the same ocean. If I ask you, who are you? It's like one wave asking another, who are you? And when I'm asking myself, who am I? It's like the wave asking the ocean, who are you? The problem for me there is, I can see that the ocean is one with the wave. But how come that I cannot read people's thoughts? And there are people that claim that they can read people's thoughts. Let's suppose that's true. Let's suppose there are some people that can read other people's thoughts. How come, though, that the people who read the thoughts are aware of their thoughts, but the person whose mind is read, so for example, let's say I meet a medium and they read my thoughts. How come that I'm not aware of that scanning process? It could happen that somebody's reading my thoughts now and I'm not even aware of it. The obvious answer is we're two separate consciousnesses. But that seems to suggest that these two waves are not connected. We are not connected by one big ocean. Which of course would make complete common sense, because we're different brains. Each brain has only one consciousness. And what connects this consciousness to the brain? And how come that I'm this consciousness and then not another? How come that I cannot see through your eyes, and how come that you cannot see through my eyes? If we're all the same consciousness. If on the other hand we are not the same consciousness, if we're not all waves originating from the same ocean, how come that we can communicate? How come we feel connected? How come that love is possible? How come we understand people's emotions even though we don't feel them directly? How come we can feel them indirectly? I want to get deeper into that in another video, actually showing you the pictures by Uchiyama Roshi and commenting on that. But for now only so much.